Hello and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different from the norm. I'm going to be going over half of my Transmog, so this is technically part 1, and that's only because I don't have the other characters transmogged yet. These are mainly just the ones that I kind of play the most, and I don't normally do transmog content. It's been like a year and a half or 2 years since I have, but I think the system's a lot of fun, and in the future, maybe, you know, we'll see more transmog stuff on the channel. So anyway, let's hop right into the characters and start off with my Hunter. Now, the Hunter is probably the one that you've all seen the most because it's the character that I main in raids and things like that, and its transmog is actually remarkably simple. It's just an entire set of the level 2 crafted gear. The one thing that could be improved though, and this is something that actually can't be got, is the weapon. The weapon is, I think it's called, well, the weapon that ideally you want, I think it's Rock Delar or something. It is the heroic mode weapon from Trial of the Grand Crusader. You can't actually get it anymore though, which is unfortunate because it looks perfect with this set. And essentially what I like about this set is that it looks all sort of like a cross between being a Paladin and a Hunter in a way. It's all kind of glorious, you know, it's got its gold and its blue, which is something that I like quite a bit. One thing that I found is that a lot of the more Ranger looking Hunter sets don't look particularly well on like the male Draenor and then some of the other characters, and this is what my character is, so yeah, I think this, if you have a Draenor, this is a set that probably will look quite good on it. In terms of cost though, it's really expensive. It depends on your server prices. When I got this, it probably cost me like 80k to put this set together, but gold is, well, gold is quite easy to get these days, so just do your garrison missions, farm your old heroics, do things like that, and you should be fine. Overall, it's a pretty nice set, one that I'll run around with for quite a while. There are a few other Hunter sets that I like the look of though, and I'll probably try giving them a go over the coming weeks. And next we have my warrior, who is of course riding the only mount that's epic enough to bear such a cool transmog. And yeah, this is not a particularly hard transmog to get. It's basically just the transmog that you get from the that thing over there, the bunker, whatever it's called. Yeah, I think it's quite nice. What I would ideally do is mix this with some of the mythic warrior tier gear that you get from Blackrock Foundry. However, I don't raid on this character, so that's pretty much a non-starter. I think it's a nice set. It does require a bit of grinding to get, though. You just need to kill Iron Horde mobs, and, well, you pretty much all know how to do that, so that's fine. In terms of the weapon, this, I'll just double-check the name here. This is the, I think it's the Firemaul of something? Yeah, the Firemaul of Destruction. Now, this drops from, I forget the name of the mob. Basically, I think it's Blood Furnace. It's the Hellfire Citadel 5-player dungeon, which contains the old Kargath Blade Fist, and you can just get this weapon here. Obviously, weapons like, say, Blackhand's Big Mace are ideal for this, but I think this is a nice enough weapon. The only downside is that, of course, it doesn't really have the high poly count, but what I do like, of course, is the color palette. You know, you've got the sort of red and black of the armor, and then this big fiery mace. I think it looks pretty badass overall. Maybe you could do with being a bit bigger, just for the sake of it's WoW, and things do look a tad ridiculous at times, but it's a nice enough set as far as I'm concerned. And next we've got my Paladin. So this Paladin set's one that I think is really nice. It looks appropriately glorious for a Paladin as far as I'm concerned, and it's also reasonably easy to get with the exception of the head and the shoulders, because they actually come from Siege of Orgrimmar LFR, which you'll probably, well, you'll pretty much definitely need friends if you want to do that. The rest of the gear, though, is actually all from Trial of the Crusader. The weapon that I'm using is 4 Dragon's Blades, which drops from Nubarak on either 10 or 25. I'll have all of these things down in Wowhead item lists in the description of the video, so it's not really much of an issue. And then the rest of the gear is just the, I believe, what, the tier 9 stuff? Again, Trial of the Crusader tier. I think overall it works quite well. One thing that I would like to do, though, is change the enchant of this weapon here, because I think it definitely could do with a bit of an enchantment. Now, in terms of what to do if I'm wearing a sword and shield, I've just got a random sword and shield here for the sake of showing it to you. I have got the Royal Crest of Lordaeron, which drops from Melganis in the Culling of Stratholme, and then, of course, Keldalar, which you need to do a series of quests on. Again, the item list will cover all of these things. Essentially, I just think this really suits a Paladin well, and it's a very nice set. There are a few other sets, I suppose, that I'm looking at for the Paladin, some more Alliance-y themed ones that are less just kind of shiny and Paladin looking, but this is what I'm currently using. This one was definitely heavily inspired from from both actually what Noble was wearing on his Paladin ages ago, and also a Reddit Transmog thread, which is actually a great place to browse for Transmogs. I'm not the most creative person ever when it comes to these things, and I get a lot of inspiration from there. And with the Stormwind Park being destroyed, I've had to hop over to the Druid Ghetto in order to show off my Druid, and I think it's a really nice Transmog if I actually go into my real form and stop trolling you. And this is one that I completely got from Reddit, from the Reddit Transmog board, and I think it's really, really cool. Now, I suppose lore-wise, it makes more sense for a Night Elf male to be a Druid, but I just think the Night Elf female character model is one of the best in the game. It looks really nimble and fast and just athletic and cool, so that's why I've got one of those. And in terms of the set itself, well, the one issue I've got actually is the belt. My belt is not perfect at all. Basically, you're supposed to do a bunch of quests and 1,000 needles for these. I already have done them, and I destroyed the rewards ages ago when I was leveling up, and that was the closest that I could find. Now, I actually got this set a few days ago by questing through the Eastern Plaguelands and picking up the bits of gear, the bits of gear that were leather, and just putting them on, and they look quite nice. So the Western Plaguelands gear that I've got is basically the boots, the legs, the gloves, the waist, the chest, and the head. Now, what's different in this set is two things. First of all, in terms of the weapon, I'm using the Staff of the Verdant Circle. Now, the Staff of the Verdant Circle is a level 20 Druid quest, and what's nice about it is, it's got some animations going on, looks kind of pretty, and it's all naturey. And for the shoulders I particularly like are the Vengeful Gladiator's Wormhide Spaulders. These cost 750 honor points, so just go do like 2-3 battlegrounds and you'll have enough to get them, and you purchase them in K3. Of course, for all the details, just look at the various links in the description, that will have you covered. And what I like about this set is I think it matches the character model quite well in that it's kind of very nimble. One of the issues that I've got in WoW in general is, like, for the big kind of hulking mass, like, melee characters, I think the Warcraft art style works great with the male characters. They just look like absolute tanks, and I think that's really cool. But for something that's a bit more naturey and nimble, I just think this character model, like, fits it perfectly. Things like a Druid or a Rogue just seems to work really well. Great animations, and that's why on a character like this, or maybe a Monk, or a Rogue or something like that, I would generally try to go with a more nimble looking Transmog instead of something that's really over-designed and over the top. That said, I do have like a crazy animated staff, massive shoulders, and, armor that's more cool looking than like practical or something, but whatever. I think it looks badass, and they are my Transmogs that I'm using. I have currently got 4 other characters at level 100, I've got a few more to level up, and I'll probably do part 2 of this video in however long it takes me to get the other characters' Transmogs sorted out. But that is it for me. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you found it useful or maybe got some ideas for your own characters. Let me know what sort of Transmogs you're using. Like, I don't know, throw a description in the comments. It'll be kind of interesting to peruse through what everyone's rolling with. But that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.